Namaste everyone. Welcome to the week 2 of reading of Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam. I wish all the listeners a very happy Guru Purnima. May that Guru principle which is controlling us, which is guiding us, which is taking care of our heartbeats, respiration, and everything that's going inside our bodies and outside. Truly pranams to that Guru principle which is within us and in all the beings. Just wish everyone a very happy Guru Purnima. So, let us start the reading of chapter 2 from the divine book Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam. So, as I said last time, this book is not about just reading. This book is about feeling the words, feeling the spirit, the supreme consciousness, and feeling that divine Guru Tattva. Everybody will resonate with that feeling that I'm talking about now, because this book guarantees that we'll all feel that Guru Tattva inside of us and outside of us. Uh, So let us start. Chapter 2, Sri Siddhendra Yogi and the story of Vichitrapuram. I, Shankar Bhatt, was recollecting the strange experiences in Marutwamalai and continued my journey while mentally chanting the glorious name of Sripada Srivallabha. I visited many holy places on the way. I was getting food without soliciting anyone for it. This was a rare experience. I felt that the weight of my body was gradually coming down after I reached the Kadamba forest in the Pandya kingdom. There was a Shivalinga of great power in that forest. After visiting the Ishvara temple, my legs became heavy, very heavy. I rested for some time in Shiva temple and resumed the journey. I found a hermitage nearby. A great person called Sri Siddhendra Yogi was living there. When I prostrated at his lotus feet, my body became lighter than a cotton ball. I was conscious of my body feeling, but the weight of my body had almost become nil. That great preceptor with a merciful heart stroked my head and blessed me, saying, May you have the darshan of Sripada Srivallabha. The great yogi explained, My son Shankar Bhatt, the Shivalinga which you have seen is very powerful. In ancient times, Devendra conquered many demons, but one of them escaped. Indra ruthlessly killed that Rakshasa while he was in tapas. Indra lost his luster because of his sin in killing someone doing tapas. Indra visited many holy places for absolution from the sin. As the Shivalinga in the Kadamba forest of the Pandya kingdom was very powerful, all the sins of Indra were suddenly removed when Indra reached the Kadamba forest. He wondered at it with the idea that there was something special and great. He searched the place in all directions. He found a Shivalinga. Indra worshipped that Shivalinga with devotion and constructed a temple for that self manifested Shivalinga. So, what you saw was that the Shivalinga consecrated by Indra. That Shivalinga removes all sins and confers all auspiciousness. Only people with great merit can see the Shivalinga. However, for the devotees of Lord Datta, meeting pious people and visiting holy places will take place unasked for and without any effort. My dear devotees, those who are following Lord Datta here, I'm sure you must have experienced this. I bowed again to the lotus feet of Sri Siddhendra Yogi. He asked me to go to the Shivalinga again. When I went there for the second time, I found a beautiful temple of Shiva. That was not the same temple that I visited previously. When I inquired, I learned that it was the temple of Sri Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, and that I was in the town of Madhura. Now it is Madurai. Earlier it was called Madhura. I visited the deities and went to the hermitage of Sri Siddhendra Yogi afterwards. The whole area now appeared as a thickly populated township. However, I searched much, but I could not find the hermitage of Sri Siddhendra Yogi of Siddha Yogindra. Recollecting the holy name of Sripada Srivallabha, I was going at random in some direction. The sunset started. It was getting dark. I saw a focus of light coming from the rear side. When I turned back, I saw a big serpent with three hoods following me. There were three diamonds on those three hoods. A brilliant light emitted from those diamonds. I was stuck with fear. Whenever I stopped, the serpent was also stopping. The divine name of Sripada was swelling up from the depth of my bosom involuntarily. Similarly, the holy name of Sripada was being uttered from my mouth involuntarily. At last, I reached the ashram of Sri Siddha Yogindra. Immediately, the divine serpent and the light disappeared. Sri Siddha Yogindra received me with utmost compassion. He gave me fried chickpeas in a plantain leaf as prasad. I ate bellyful. The palpitation of my heart did not decrease even though I was taking food. Sri Siddha Yogindra massaged my right breast lightly with love. Afterwards, he touched my head with his holy hand. I noticed my heart's palpitation slowing down. I also felt as if some foul gases were being purged out of my lungs. I also experienced that all bad thoughts and cruel desires were pushed out of my mind. My body temperature increased and I was in a state of stupor. The the greatness of Datta and the qualifications required for obtaining grace of Sripada. The Sri Siddha Yogendra stated as following Shankar Bhatt, the Shivalinga which you saw at first and Sri Sundareshwara whom you visited later are not different. Sri Dattatreya ordered that you should be provided with this kind of experience. So it was granted to you accordingly. It means that the time was rolled back and Shivalinga established by Indra and the actual surroundings existing at the time were shown to you. To regard the creation that you witness as a real creation is Maya. Everything is an embodiment of the consciousness. By the will of Lord Datta, the future may become present. The consciousness of Lord Datta is eternally present. Whatever happened in the past and whatever is happening at present and whatever is to happen in the future will occur according to the will of Lord Datta. The resolve of Lord Datta is essential for an event to happen, not to happen, or to happen in a different novel way. Sri Dattatreya is the personification of that magnificent determination responsible for the creation, sustenance, and liquidation. Now, he has taken birth on this earth as Sripada Srivallabha. The residents of Pithapuram did not recognize him properly. They failed to understand the philosophy of a guru. In Kurvapuram, even ignorant persons like fishermen obtain knowledge of the Brahman. To get the grace of Sripada Srivallabha, the ahankara within us has to be destroyed. To get the all types of pride have to become extinct, then only we can understand his power, his mercy, and his real nature. A merchant named Dhananjaya found the Shivalinga consecrated by Indra and informed the matter to the ruler of that region called Kulashekara Pandya. Following the command of Shiva, Kulashekara Pandya developed it and built a town there. He named the town as Madhura. The Vegavati river, which is born out of the matted hair of Shiva, is sanctifying Madhura town. His son Malayadhwaja Pandya conducted a sacrifice called Putra Kameshti for obtaining progeny. From the altar of that sacrifice, a 3-year-old baby girl emerged as one not born out of womb. She is Minakshi Devi. She married Sundareshwara. Mahavishnu himself participated in the ritual of offering the bride to the bridegroom and organized the divine marriage of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara on a very grand scale. Sri Siddha Yogendra had added, my son Shankar Bhatt, vibrations emanate from every article in the creation. On account of these variegated vibrations, attraction and repulsion take place with other things. In the gross, subtle, and mortal or fleshy bodies, good vibrations due to good deeds and bad vibrations due to sinful acts arise. On account of a meritorious virtue, the desire for meeting pious persons, visiting holy places, and an interest in righteous deeds will increase. Thereby, the virtuous merit gets enhanced. Unless that virtue increases and sin diminishes, we cannot have a steady devotion towards Lord Datta. A variety of incidents happen owing to time, accumulated merit or demerit, or other causes. You could come here only on account of Sri Vallabha's boundless compassion on you. Dhananjaya, the merchant who gave information to Kulashekara Pandya about the Shivalingam installed by Indra, acquired great merit. As a consequence of that merit, he was born as Kusuma Shreshti, the king of Brihatshila Nagaram, and got Jaganmata as his daughter. Virupaksha, with the Amsha of Nandishwar, was born to Kusuma Shreshti couple as the brother of Ambika. Sri Lord Datta kept an Amsha of him in Virupaksha. According to the word given by her, Ambika, she took birth in Brihatshila Nagaram and the name Vasavi. Only Jnanis know that Sri Vasavi Kanaka Parameshwari was Ambika herself and that Sripada Srivallabha, the embodied Dattatreya, was Lord Narayana himself. On the full moon day in the month of Shravana, Ambika will tie a Raksha Bandhan to Sripada Srivallabha. This is a divine secret. It is not to be revealed to ordinary people. I reveal this to you only on the order of Sri Vallabha. On that day, if anyone has darshan of the deities in the temples of Ambika or in the Takshetras, he or she will get the fruit of special merit. Shiva and Keshava are not different. If anyone sees them differently, they will get the fruit of sin. On the day of Ekadashi, all sins will be tagged onto food. If one fasts on that day and gives food to a good Brahmin on the next day, which is Dwadashi, one gets merit. He gets the highest merit if he fasts on Dwadashi day also and then gives food. Along with getting merit, his sins will also get destroyed. If one fasts on Ekadashi, gives food to a suitable Brahmin, and also takes food himself on the next day, he will get average fruit. He will get merit, but his sins will not be destroyed. If one fasts on Ekadashi day and takes food himself on Dwadashi without also giving food to a suitable Brahmin, then he will get the lowest fruit. He will get only the minimum merit. Sin will not be destroyed. In that way, I can describe the speciality of the fruit of. In what way can I describe the speciality of the fruit of my merit? I questioned Sri Siddhendra Yogi like this: Mahaprabhu, what was the reason for Ambika to take the name Vasavi? Whom did she give this promise, and why did she become Vasavi Kanaka Parameshwari like this? Please show grace on me and reveal this to me. Sri Siddha Yogindra smiled to my prayer. He said, My dear, I realize that you have a great interest in listening to the words related to jnana. There is a restriction that divine secrets should be revealed only to those who are inquisitive, qualified, and suitable. We should not reveal these to unsuitable, argumentative people and atheists. Blaming divine secrets and divine place becomes the reason for acquiring sin. Sriman Narayana has another name, Upendra. Once Indra asked Sriman Narayana, Swami, because you have the name Upendra, you have become my brother. In that case, Ambika should also become my sister. She should also have a name which reminds my name. Sriman Narayana smiled and said, Yes, your argument has a good reason. You put this question to Ambika herself. As time passed, gods killed demons and became arrogant. The time had come to destroy their pride. Ambika took the form of a yaksha. When Vayudeva reached there, the yaksha put a small blade of grass there and asked him to move it. Vayudeva could not move it. Similarly, Agni could not burn it. In this way, the gods became humiliated. But Devendra could recognize that it was not Yaksha but the Paratatvam itself. Because Devendra could recognize the Paratatvam, he became great. So he got the name Indra. The Paratatvam took the form of Ambika. Indra praised her with many verses. Pleased with that, Ambika gave a boon to Indra that she would manifest herself in Kali Yuga in Brihatsila Nagaram and take the name of Vasavi, which would remind Indra's name Vasava. In accordance with that boon, she manifested as Vasavi Kanyaka Parameshwari. My dear, every small incident happens in accordance with time, effect of karma, and a reason. Divine place cannot be predicted, they cannot be comprehended. Before Sriman Narayana took birth to Devaki and Vasudeva as Shri Krishna, Ambika manifested as Yogamaya. When Kamsa tried to kill her, she took to the sky with a divine form. In Sri Krishna avatar, the Lord could not get the affection of maternal uncles, but he will get that affection in the avatar of Sripada Srivallabha. If anybody worships Sri Vallabha thinking that he is his child, Sripada Sri Vallabha will be moving incognito in his house as a small child. If somebody worships Vasavi Kanaka Parameshwari thinking that she is their child and shows effective devotion, she will be moving incognito as the divine child in their house. Disciples having pure hearts will hear melodiously the sound of her anklets. This is absolute truth in Kali Yuga. There should not be any doubt. Now you take rest. Always remember the name of Sripada Srivallabha. The sins acquired in many births will be burnt out. You could come here because of the endless grace of Sripada Srivallabha on you. Thus saying, Sri Siddha Yogindra blessed me. Because I was tired, I slept deeply. I was wondering at my extreme fortune and becoming excited in my mind, I was eager to reach Kurvapuram quickly, and I decided not to leave the holy feet of Sri Vallabha. When I woke up the next morning, I was subjected to amazement and astonishment because I was lying at the base of an Audambara tree on a hillock. Audambara in English is a fig tree, one of the types of fig trees. There was no movement of people in the surroundings. Was my stay during night in the hermitage of Sri Siddhendra Yogi merely a hallucination? Was Sri Siddhendra Yogi a cheat, a magician, or a devil? Such doubts crept in my mind. The words of Sri Siddha Yogindra about Lord Sri Datta were resounding in my ears. I wondered as to what use it would be for Sripada Srivallabha to keep me in such a predicament. Many thoughts were crossing in my mind. I collected my belongings and resumed my journey. My journey continued from morning till noon. I saw a village with small houses. The pangs of hunger increased and troubled me. I am a Brahmin and can take meals only in the house of Brahmins. I cannot take meals elsewhere. I thought of preparing the meals myself if someone provides the materials. Then I can eat such food. I got a doubt whether any Brahmins were living in the village, so I asked some villagers about it. One of them said, Sir, we are a hill tribe. I am the chief of this hamlet. There are no Brahmins in our village. You can accept fruits and honey from us if you have no objection. There is an adage that one can behave like a low caste Shudra during travels. Therefore, I considered that it was not wrong to accept anything offered by anybody during the course of travel. They placed before me fruits and honey from the hills in those ravines. Dear listeners, please remember that this book has been written many, many years ago. Um, so, everything that is coming here is from that period of time. When I was about to eat, a crow came from somewhere and started pecking on my head. I tried to drive it away, but in vain. In the meanwhile, some more crows gathered. They started pecking my body in all spots in wanton manner. I was panic stricken and began to run. Those crows were chasing me. There was no one in that village who could help me. The chief of the village said, Oh, what a strange thing! In our area, crows do not harm anyone. We wonder why these crows are so ferocious and obstinate to harm you. You must have abused or dishonored a Siddha Purusha. You are undergoing this punishment because of this curse. If we are to obstruct the course of punishment, we would have to incur the wrath of at that stage. So we will not try to change the course of divine play. Please do not misunderstand. After saying this, the chief kept quiet. I could not take the fruits and honey given to me. My body became blood stained. The crows chased and injured me even though I was running. I felt extremely sad at my dismissal state. Did Sri Siddha Yogindra curse me because I doubted him? But he had blessed me that I would have the fortune of seeing Sripada Srivallabha. Probably I cannot have the darshan of Lord Datta unless all my sins accumulated from the past births are completely destroyed. I do not know how many sinful deeds I had amassed. How many punishments like this I have to suffer if all those sins are to be washed out? Oh, are so many difficulties and dangers involved in the blessings bestowed for the darshan of Sri Vallabha? Oh God, how many punishments you still want to inflict on me? Now who can save me? Sripada Sri Vallabha, save me, Sharanu, Sharanu, Sripada Sri Vallabha. With such thoughts of absolute surrender, I slowly reached the root portion of an Audambara tree. I thought that the Audambara tree, which is the residing center of Lord Sri Datta, would protect me, but the sport of Lord Sri Datta, contrary to my hope, ran contrary to my hope. An unprecedented foul smell was spreading from my body. Attracted by this odious odor or by the irony of fate, big poisonous snakes were coming in a row quickly. They were biting me and leaving quickly. I was troubled by crows before. Now my entire body became poisonous because of the bites from venomous serpents. Foam was coming out from my mouth. The strength of my heart began to decline. I thought that I was sure to die at any moment. It was evening dusk. Some washermen were going that way. They washed, dried, and bundled the dried clothes. They kept the bundles on the backs of donkeys and were going. They noticed my miserable plight, but they hesitated to touch me for some time because I am a Brahmin. As delay might endanger my life, they regarded saving a life was of prime importance. Hence, they seated me on a donkey and took me to their village. For me, all troublesome incidents were taking place in a procession on that day. The washerman took me to the colony of cobblers. One of those tanners had known knowledge of medicine relating to poison. They kept me on a cot, the bottom of which was laced with cords. The premises smelled badly. That cobbler physician made juice from some wild herbs. He made me drink that juice. He tied some leaves to the locations where the snakes had bitten me. He plucked some tender leaves from an Audambara tree. Juice like milk was flowing from those leaves. He kept the stems of those leaves in my 2 ears. I was getting terrible pain. I tried to get up and run away. Two strong men held me firmly. I was helpless. That physician instructed his assistants, the poison will come into the Audambara leaves. After that, you have to burn those poisonous leaves. The man will cry much louder as the poison increasingly gets transferred to the Adambara leaves. So you hold him firmly. After some time, the poison was neutralized. I became healthy. I stayed in the house of the cobbler all throughout the night. The cobbler was singing during the whole night. Datta Digambara, Sripada Vallabha, Datta Digambara. I was lying on the cot. My heart swelled on hearing the extremely melodious names of the Lord. My love for the cobbler enhanced because he became my co-disciple of our Guru due to the spiritual relationship. In the next moment, I was pained with the realization that I was born in a superior Brahmin caste and that he was a low caste cobbler. Before we go to the next section, let's just chant once. Digambara, Digambara, Sripada Vallabha Digambara. The teaching of cobbler called Vallabha Das to Shankar Bhatt. After completing the singing, the cobbler came to me. The compassion was overflowing from his eyes. His two eyes were suggesting the experience of self. A doubt crept in my mind whether he was some yogi. He turned to me and said, Sir, my name is Vallabhadas. I am an artisan working with the hides of animals. I was born in a low caste, there is no doubt about it. Nevertheless, I want to tell you some information. I already knew that your name is Shankar Bhatt and that you are traveling to visit Sripada Srivallabha. Not only that, I also know why you were harassed by crows and snakes on that way. I was astonished. I thought that he probably studied astrology and acquired some proficiency in this subject. Vallabhadas said immediately, Sir, I'm not an astrologer. Sri Kshetra Pitikapuram is the birthplace of great scholars. It is the holy place where Sangha Vedardha Samrat Pandit Malladi Bapanavadhani actually lived. The Vedas became tired in the process attempting to describe the Supreme Being. They could not pinpoint the phenomenon correctly and simply ruled out everything by saying, This is not, this is not. Such is the nature of Supreme Being. Pithapuram is the sacred place where the supreme phenomenon took birth as Sripada Srivallabha. Dry philosophy and meaningless debates cannot earn the grace of Sripada Srivallabha. There is no need for scholarly excellence to obtain the mercy of Sripada. On the other hand, pedantic pride will throw us far away from him. The crows that pecked at you were great pundits who lived in Pithapuram during their previous lives. They could not recognize the divine nature of Sri Vallabha and they could not realize him as Lord Datta. Thus, they wasted their whole lives. They could recite Vedas upside down, but what is the use? They were repeating words like Krama, Ghana, Jata, Svatya, and exhibiting their arrogance. After death, they went to heaven. Indra praised them. He showered praise on them by saying, "Oh, you are Kramanta, you are Ghanapati, you are Jati. Oh, you are an expert in Tarka. What a fortune! How many hundreds and thousands of times you have recited Veda. What a merit! What a merit! Only because of that merit you could step into Swarga." All the denizens of Indraloka admired them sky high. However, these pandits suffered the pangs of hunger. Divine ambrosia was available in heaven. They heard that one is freed from hunger and thirst by drinking it. They submitted their problem directly to Indra as none paid any heed to them. To that, Indra replied, Veda is the form of the Lord's inhalation and exhalation. The Lord is infinite and deathless. Therefore, Vedas are also infinite. Vedas are the basis of all dharmas. By chanting Vedas, you have praised the Lord. As a reward for it, we, the celestials, are also praising you highly. Otherwise, is it possible for you to get encomiums from me? If one desires food, he must provide food to others. If one donates a grain, we the celestial enhance it to thousand grains, and return them to the donor as a reward. When you have not donated anything, how can we help? Because of your Vedic recitation, you derived immense benefit. Therefore, you can reside freely in Indraloka as long as it exists. Afterwards, you can go to another world. In this way, you can remain eternally free. Those who heard the words of Indra faced a difficult situation. It occurred to them that living eternally without food and suffering prolonged hunger and thirst, it was indeed an unbearable punishment. Indra said again, You lived in the holy Padagaya Kshetra, but you performed annual ceremonies to the means of your ancestors without care and concern. You were always calculating the expenditure incurred for such functions. You were also absorbed in the thought that you were eating delicious food items, but you were devoid of the care and devotion required for the performance of those solemn ceremonies. As a result, your forefathers did not attain noble positions after their death. Your heirs are also behaving like that. Your children also did lament that you lived too long and a large amount of money was wasted on medical facilities provided to you. They even wondered, oh, how much food was wasted. Sriman Narayana himself incarnated as Sripada Srivallabha in the midst of you when he was showing the way for salvation. You abused him. You indulged in fruitless and counter arguments, even though all the auspicious traits like omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence, and qualities of an incarnation were clearly visible. You became blind people who could not recognize Sripada Srivallabha as an avatar of Sri Datta. It is ordained that you remain as crows in the forms of the manes of your ancestors till you drink the blood of a person whose body was purified by the chanting of the sacred name of Sripada Srivallabha. Sri Das said, Shankar Bhatt, it was for that reason they were born as crows, and on account of their previous merit, they drank your blood and obtained noble status. Then I noticed that Vallabhdas was not an ordinary person and that the grace of Sripada Srivallabha was completely on him. Sri Vallabhdas added, Sir, the serpents who are attracted by the scent emanating from your body attained salvation. I said, Shri Great Vallabhdas, why should this incident take place? If my body were to be used as food for crows, serpents, and other living creatures, it would be a harrowing experience for me. I'm under constant fear of being attacked by any creature at any time. Sri Vallabhdas said, Sir, this is all a sportive play of Sripada. Don't have such fear. Such accidents would not take place in the future. Only the one who gives life will have the authority to take out life. Therefore, such authority is not vested in anyone except God. However, some of your ancestors worshipped goddess Kali on the burial ground. With the help of the mantra used, they killed many persons whom they disliked. They earned great sin because they were responsible for the unnatural deaths of those people. Due to that sin, they took birth as snakes. But as you were also born in their family, you were all blood relatives. Moreover, you obtained the mercy of Sripada. Because of this small merit, the incident took place and they got salvation. A Brahmin should be a seeker of truth. A Kshatriya should be bound by dharma. A Vaishya should attain to cultivation, protection of cattle, and be skilled in the sale and purchase activities. Therefore, he should be a calm person. A Shudra should be a loving one and render services. Even then, there is no distinction between caste, creed, rich and poor for the grant of divine grace. A Brahmin can follow the duty of Kshatriya and can become a king. When a Kshatriya desires knowledge of Brahmin, he can adopt the duty of a Brahmin. Had not Kusuma Shreshti, who was a Vaishya, chosen Kshatriya Dharma and became a ruler? According to Brahmanic Dharma, killing an enemy is sinful, but in Kshatriya Dharma, it is prescribed duty. You are a Brahmin and a seeker of truth. Therefore, non-violence is a supreme duty for you, but not for a butcher. So, if a man wants to get proper results from his actions, he should perform the duties according to the dharma adopted by him, irrespective of the caste to which he belongs. As you are at present ill, it is desirable and necessary that you should be with a doctor. That is why you were brought to me. Please note that Sripada Srivallabha will observe us every moment. In your childhood, you were reciting the prayers about Lord Vishnu. You were prattling with your friends in a funny manner. It is indeed a prayer for Lord Ganesha for the words in the shloka Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashi Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. You are giving a perverted interpretation for the sake of fun. You are giving the following meanings. Shuklam Baradaram, that which bears white clothes, Vishnum, that which is everywhere, Sashivarnam, white ash color, Chaturbhujam, four legs instead of four hands, Prasannavadanam, number one, the donkey will have a gracious face when it prays. Number two, the donkey will kick people with its hind legs. Dhyayet, so its face is only pleasant to look at. Sarva Vignopashantaye, I pray for abatement of all obstacles. In this way, you are jokingly giving a perverse meaning to that holy prayer and extended its meaning as a prayer applicable to a donkey. So, dear listeners, this prayer is actually for Lord Ganesha, and I would just like to say that it's usually said or sung in the beginning of auspicious occasions. It actually means you're clad in white, O all pervading one, and radiating with the color of the moon, with four arms, you the all knowing one. I meditate on your ever smiling face and pray, please remove all obstacles that my from my way. Let's get back to the story of Shankar Bhatt. Shankar Bhatt, Lord Datta is a skilled one. The Lord, in his presence, would also rectify the mistakes made by you for fun. The washerman brought you to me on a donkey. At that time, you were covered with dust and bore an ashen color. You came here with halting pace, and sometimes you walked on all your fours, two hands and two legs, supporting yourself on your hands placed on the ground. Even though you came to the Audambara tree or on all your fours, gasping for breath, you could not avoid the accident. Your hope of escaping from the serpents were belied in this way. You had a placid countenance if you did not convulse with pain. At last you were brought to the village of cobblers. In subjecting you to so many miseries, Sripada provided entertainment and taught you a lesson. Those tanners were freed from their ignoble births. You were teaching the prayer shloka of Sri Vishnu to your friends in a jocular manner. That is the reason why you have come to a position where you have to hear the teaching of a low caste person like me. Now you are here. Tomorrow, you may stay in the house of your own caste people. If you disclose this incident even by mistake, they will ostracize you. With the good teaching of Sri Vallabh Das, the Brahminic arrogance in me decreased. The feeling that Vallabh Das was a pariah disappeared. I had brotherly love for him as he was my blood relation. I accepted the hospitality of Vallabh Das for 2 or 3 days and left the village afterwards. What can I describe about the mercy of Sri Vallabha? I was involved in very strange circumstances in a town called Vichitrapuram and came out in a strange way. When I was going on foot from Vichitrapuram, some royal servants approached me with humble obedience and inquired whether I was a Vaishnava or a Shaiva. I told them we were Smarthas who observe no distinction between between Shiva and Keshava, but we show some inclination towards Shaivism, and that the pontiff of the southern monastery, Sri Sringeri Shankaracharya, was our preceptor. They requested me to visit their king. I went with them for the royal audience. On the way, I understood some peculiar matters. The king was inviting any Brahmin who was seen on that day and was questioning if this is if this much is for that much, how much will be for this much? No one could give a satisfactory answer. Dear listeners, I hope you are with me till here. So no one could give a satisfactory answer to that question. The king conducted a sacrifice some years ago to beget sons. Fortunately, he got a son. However, from that day, Brahmins faced peculiar troubles as the son born to the king became a mute. The king was of the opinion that because of the defective sacrifice performed by the Brahmins, his son became mute. Therefore, the king got the heads of Shaivite Brahmins completely shaved, marked their faces with the paint of vertical Vaishnavite lines, and paraded them on the back of donkeys. Likewise, he got the heads of Vaishnavite Brahmins cleanly shaved, marked their faces with horizontal lines made of holy ash, and paraded them seated on the back of the donkeys. This situation became unbearable to both Shaivas and Vaishnavas. The king suddenly began to shave in a the king suddenly began to behave in a quixotic fashion. He was donating totakura. It's a kind of leaves, actually, totakura. So he was donating totakura liberally to Brahmins. He ordered the totakura should be cultivated in a large acreage of the cultivable land. He was collecting half of the taxes in the form of totakura. Cart loads of totakura were collected and kept in the fort. Totakura was donated in a very large quantity, in very large quantities, and Brahmins could not consume it fully. The cooking of rice and the eating of other victuals was forbidden for the Brahmins. After eating cooked totakura in the main meals, they had to eat cooked or uncooked totakura as a snack. What can the poor Brahmins do? All the Brahmins who took great pride as scholars in logic, scholars in philosophy, and scholars in Puranas shed their arrogance and were praying to God silently and pitiably to redress this their plight. There was a devotee of Datta who was an ardent follower of Datta sect among the Brahmins. He said that Lord Dattatreya becomes merciful at mere remembrance and that only the Lord can remove their miserable condition. Therefore, all the Brahmins observed Mandala Diksha and started worshipping Lord Dattatreya. As his son was mute, the king wanted to encourage the sign language for the mute. He instructed the Rajaguru to write a book on the sign language for the mute. The preceptor of the royal court was formerly very haughty. He was in a miserable state and undertook extensive research in the sign language. The discussion between Shankar Bhatt and Maharaja. I was taken before the king. I was I was perspiring profusely. I thought about the rigorous tests of Sripada Srivallabha imposed upon me. I was mentally chanting the name of Sripada without any pause. I was getting courage that I never possessed before. The king posed the same question that he asked all the people. He asked me, if that much becomes this much, how much this much becomes? I replied solemnly, this much is only for this much. The king was taken aback and said, Mahatma, you are great. I am blessed to see you. Only recently I had recollection of the knowledge about my past lives. I was a very poor Brahmin in my previous birth. I was growing totakura in my house. I was offering it freely to all those who asked for it. The Brahmins who received it from me were all wealthy and did not suffer from want of food and water. They simply took the vegetable gratis from me, but they did not cooperate with me on any day. They did not show any mercy on me. Whenever they were deputing me on their behalf for annual ceremonies of ancestors or for marriages, the householders used to give me large amounts of money and presents. Out of this, the people who were deputing me were snatching 99% and releasing 1% for me. The labor was mine and the reward was theirs. In addition, they were getting a free supply of Totokura from my house. I was suffering from acute poverty, but I continued to donate Totokura as usual. Those Brahmins were saying that the vegetable was very tasty and that no harm would happen by eating it daily. The circle of time rotated swiftly as I was donating to the Totokura in spite of my abject poverty. I am born as a king in this birth. Those Brahmins who received that green vegetable from me took birth as Brahmins in my kingdom. In this way, I was born many times richer and greater than them. By donating Totokura, I became a king. So I'm donating greater quantities of these vegetables in cartloads. So I'm asking everyone that would be the so I'm asking everyone what would be the magnificent state I would achieve in the future as my result of present donations. Only you gave the correct answer to my peculiar question. The king concluded his speech. Then I explained, Raja, Totokura was very valuable under circumstances of your previous life, but considering your present exalted position, its value is negligible. Being in a position to donate diamonds, precious stones, and gold, you are still donating Totokura. So, how much ever you donate that green leafy vegetable, you cannot get anything more except 100 times of that Totokura. The king was very pleased with my reply. It gave great relief to my mind that for casual reply of mine the king gave an account of his previous life. I felt that I felt that thanks to the grace of Sripada, the dishonor of on a donkey was avoided. Riding a donkey was avoided. I had already mounted a donkey for misinterpreting the sacred words Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnu. For fun in my childhood, I offered salutations in my mind to Sripada, who saved me from riding a donkey in a disgraceful condition. Then started the second test. The test was held in the sign language for the mute, which was very dear to the king. The Rajaguru began to examine me. Showing his fingers, the Rajaguru questioned me with signs whether it was one or two. I thought he was asking me whether I came alone or I was accompanied by anyone. I replied with signs showing one finger that I came singly. Then he showed me three fingers. That suggested to me about Lord Dattatreya. I assumed that he was inquiring whether I was a devotee of Datta. I felt that devotion should be kept as a secret, so I showed a closed fist and conveyed the message that it was for a secret matter which belongs to the innermost heart. For that, the Rajaguru offered sweets, requesting me with gestures to accept. I refused to accept and I showed a pack of flattened rice. I took some flattened rice from the bundle and gave it to him. My idea was that I like flattened rice more than sweets and that they could also partake them. Then the Rajaguru in a profound voice praised Raja, he is great Pandit. It is already known that he is a great Vedic scholar who mastered all Vedas. He is also a great expert in the sign language for the deaf. All of this was perplexing to me. Then Rajaguru told the king, Raja, I asked him whether Shiva and Keshava are one or if they are different. Showing one finger, he said they both are one. I showed him three fingers indicating that Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara exist differently. He replied by showing his closed fist and questioned, Are not the five fingers of the hands existing collectively as one? I offered him sweets, requesting him to accept me as his disciple. Thereupon, he indicated that he is not bothered with disciples and that he leads a contented life like Kuchela. Saying so, he turned down my request and gave me parched and flattened rice. I was astonished. Oh, I wondered how vastly varied the methods of understanding mind and thoughts in the world are. Then came the third and final examination. Rajaguru was reading the mantras from Rudra Chamaka and wanted me to explain their meaning. Remembering Sri Vallabha, I began to expatiate their meaning according to my perfunctory knowledge. My dear listeners, this is very beautiful. Please try to see if you can understand this. Ekachame means number one. Um, Trisha, Trishrachame means number three added to the previous one. It is four and its mathematical root is two. Panchachame is the addition of 5 to the previously arrived 4 that gives 9 and its mathematical root is 3. Saptachame signifies the addition of 7 to the already arrived number 9. The total is 16 and the root of it is 4. Navachame means adding 9 to the already derived number 16. The total works out to be 25 and the root is 5. Ekadashachami involves the addition of 11 to the number 25 already worked out. The total is 36 and its root is 6. Trayodashachami is the addition of 13 to the previous 36. The total comes to 49 and its mathematical root is 7. Panchadashachami means the addition of 15 to the number 49. The total is 64 and its root is 8. Saptadashachami is 17 plus 64 which is equal to 81 and the mathematical root is 9. The other factors are as following. Navadasha Chame is 19 plus 81 equal to 100. The root is 10. Eka Vingasati Chame is 21 plus 100 which is equal to 121. Its root is 11. Traya Vingashati Chame is 23 plus 121 equal to 144. Its root is 12. Panchavingashati Chame is 25 plus 144 equal to 169. Its root is 13. Saptavingashati Chame is 27 plus 169 equal to 196. Its root is 14. Navavingashati Chame is 29 plus 196 equal to 225. Its root is 15. And Ekatriyam Shati Chame is 31 plus 225 equal to 226 and its root is 16. The above details are shown in the following way for better understanding. Ekachame 1 plus triple zero equal to 1, its root is 1. Trishrachame 3 plus 1 equal to 4, its root is 2. Panchachame 5 plus 4 equal to 9, root is 3. Saptachame 7 plus 9 equal to 16, its root is 4. Navachame 9 plus 16 equal to 25, its root is 4, its root is 5. So forth the book gives the root till 16 as I have read previously. Let us go deeper in what this says further. I explain in the following manner the mathematical mysteries enshrined in the Vedic mantras of Rudra Chamaka. My explanation was highly appreciated by the scholars of the court. I was amazed at my own explanation. Again, I added, all this is about the mystery of atoms responsible for creation. This was known to sage Kannada various metals from according to the different arrangement of the number of atoms. On account of the great mercy of Sripada Srivallabha, I came out of Vichitrapuram in a strange way in the above manners. Victory to Sripada Vallabha, Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prapadye, Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prapadye, Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prapadye. Digambara, Digambara, Sripada Vallabha, Digambara. Dear listeners, thank you for listening to the chapter 2 of this divine book. Next week, we will continue with the next chapter. Again, thank you for this session. Namaskar.